What causes your brain to get old? Strangely enough, the answer is actually in The Wizard of Oz. Let me explain. When you're younger, your brain gets a continuous surge of rejuvenating blood flow in the form of a fluid. And this memory fluid clears out toxic brain waste that would otherwise make your brain older faster. Plus, it grows fresh, new brain cells. It's almost like a mini fountain of youth de-aging the brain. So when your brain is getting this memory fluid, you feel sharp, focused, youthful. It's why someone can be 70 but still run circles around a college kid and never worry about losing their memory. But once your memory fluid begins drying up, your brain starts to age rapidly. It happens like clockwork in the lab. Your memory fluid dries up. For a while, you get brain fog. Then your brain atrophies, and your memory is downhill from there. You can think of this dried brain like Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. When the Tin Man dries, he dies. Only the right fluid can bring him back to life. Well, your brain actually works in a very similar way. When you rehydrate it with the memory fluid, it not only comes back to life, it even shows signs of aging in reverse. But we can't oil your brain the way Dorothy oiled the Tin Man. Colleagues of mine from both NASA and Harvard knew this when they uncovered the most remarkable memory technology I've ever seen for addressing this. In just a moment, I'll show you their new at-home memory method that so many anti-aging experts are now recommending to patients over 50. But as a neuroscientist, I had to know, is this dried brain just the result of normal aging? The answer is what you'd least expect. It turns out the key factor involves neuroinflammation. If you saw neuroinflammation featured recently in National Geographic, then you know it's just what it sounds like. It's inflammation burning through your brain. But unlike normal inflammation, which causes pain, you'd never know you had neuroinflammation because your brain doesn't feel any pain when it's inflamed. That means you could have it right now and you'd have no idea. I don't mean to scare you, but neuroinflammation is much more serious than normal inflammation. Experts estimate neuroinflammation is quietly afflicting more than 75% of all seniors. And just recently, the National Institute of Aging publicly named neuroinflammation the #1 predictor of dementia. But the only way to know for sure that you don't have it is a PET scan, which runs about $5,000 per scan. So, like a wildfire, this neuroinflammation spreads through the brain, burning away the synapses in its path. And then, just like in a real wildfire, it leaves behind a dry mess that, pardon my directness, makes you and your brain old. Do you ever feel like you've slowed down with age? That you just can't keep up like you used to? It's not just normal aging. Neuroinflammation and the dried brain it causes is the key factor making your brain old and putting your memory at risk. And remember that your brain governs everything from your heartbeat and vision to your digestion and immune system. This is why studies now suggest that neuroinflammation may be linked to a whole host of things you don't want: heart disease, stroke, lung cancer, Parkinson's, liver failure, vision loss, and more. Neuroinflammation is so harmful, it's even been linked to a lower IQ and the shortening of your lifespan by up to 10 years in some studies. I want you to understand, you may not have an old brain. You have a dried brain. This is why it's not your fault that all the brain pills, brain games, and brain foods haven't worked, because the same old tips do almost nothing to solve a dried, aging brain. If we want to restore the focus and mental energy of your youth, there's only one option. We must rehydrate the brain with more memory fluid.